From Brigham Young University's Department of Communications, this is your daily news, honored by the Hearst Foundation for Excellence in Broadcast Journalism.
Now, after a series of thoughtful conversations, Secretary Rumsfeld and I agreed that the timing is right for new leadership at the Pentagon.
Donald Rumsfeld stepped down earlier this week as Secretary of Defense, and President Bush announced former CIA Chief Robert Gates as Rumsfeld's replacement. Hello everybody and welcome to the BYU Daily News Weekly Wrap-Up Show. I'm Stace Hall. High honors were given this week to a Utah soldier stationed in Iraq for saving the life of a fellow soldier. Specialist Cody Henscheid received the Combat Action Badge, Bronze Star Medal, and the Purple Heart. Earlier this week, his parents spoke with the Daily News about their son.
Both of us just laid in bed and cried for an hour or so.
For Don and Janet Henscheid, these were tears of joy. Their son Cody, safe after an improvised explosive device detonated under his truck.
We believe that he definitely had some extra help there. It was too miraculous of an incident for there not to have been help.
He performed as he was taught to perform. Cody loves the men and women he served with like their family, and so he feels like he just did what he was trained to do.
Then Henscheid did something to make every parent proud. He saved his friend and driver, Specialist Michael Pace. Henscheid risked his life, pulling Pace from the 18-wheeler while standing in flames waist high. Miraculously, he escaped with no severe injuries. Henscheid carried his friend to safety, then laid on top of him until help arrived. But Janet says performing this heroic act is why Cody volunteered in the first place.
The 19-year-old Alpine native is currently serving his first tour of duty in Iraq. For 22 years, BYU professors and analysts have conducted exit polls on election night to project the winners. And on election night, 4 of our reporters were at both parties' headquarters and caught up with the candidates.
This is McKay Allen reporting in Salt Lake City at the Utah Democratic headquarters, where I spoke with Christian Burridge, who discussed with me a little bit about the national political scene and his own race.
Hindsight is 20/20. I'm proud of my staff. They did a great job with the amount of money we had and the amount of time we had, and I think it shows that people are ready for change and people are ready to vote for a guy like me.
This is McKay Allen in Salt Lake City at the Utah Democratic headquarters. Back to you.
I'm Jed Beck here at the GOP headquarters, where I had the opportunity to talk to Senator Bennett, and his big concern was that the Democrats will be taking over the congressional power in the House.
I think we will keep the Senate, so that will set up a very interesting kind of conflict on this particular issue.
Individually, I don't think I'm that bad off. I've had the opportunity of working with the Democrat ranking members of the committees on which I would be serving, so we have a fairly good relationship. But I still think, the Republican message is significantly better for the state of Utah and America than what Nancy Pelosi would come up with. So I think for the country as a whole, that would be a very negative situation.
All the candidates that we talked to were a little bit disappointed that the House is going to be controlled by the Democrats, but they also mentioned that it's a wait and see now on how they're going to use that power. I'm Jed Beck, reporting from GOP headquarters.
I'm Scott Evans, reporting in Salt Lake City at the Utah Democratic headquarters, where I spoke with Steve Olson, who ran for the first time and learned a few things along the way.
I've run this campaign a little differently than other Democrats. Sometimes Democrats will run in Utah and they'll say, vote for me despite the fact I'm a Democrat. I have not run from that. I proudly show the blue donkey on my campaign signs. The booklet talks about why Utahns are really Democrats, but just don't know it yet. So a big part of my campaign has been to get the message out that Utah Democratic values are consistent with Utah values.
This is Scott Evans reporting at the Utah Democratic headquarters in Salt Lake City.
I'm Lindsay Aaron reporting at the Republican headquarters, where I had a chance to speak with Governor Huntsman and Senator Hatch, who both say Utah will have a prominent role now with the shifting power of the Democratic Party.
I think we have a responsibility to do what's right for the people, and so long as we're doing what's right for the people, we're going to get, I think, credit for it. Not that anybody's looking for credit, but right now we are a shining star example of an economy that is working well. We're in the hottest region of the United States, a region that, interestingly enough, was completely Republican just a few short years ago.
I've always reached out. I'm known as a person who can bring both sides together. And I work hard to do that because our country's more important than parties.
Governor Huntsman says now that the election is over, he will call a special session next week to discuss the 4th Congressional District in Utah. For BYU Daily News, I'm Lindsay Aaron, reporting at GOP headquarters.
Defeating Pete Ashdown, Senator Orrin Hatch won a record 6th term, making him the longest-serving senator in state history. As part of a new program called Judges for J Schools, a federal circuit judge visited BYU campus this week. Daily News reporter Megan Egbert got the inside scoop.
Still a Cougar fan to this day, Lloyd D. George came not only for the BYU-Wyoming game, but to impart some wisdom and help fill the gap between reporters and judges.
Lloyd D. George was a BYU student body president while he attained his undergrad here in the 50s. Now he returns as a federal judge to speak to not law students, but journalism students here in the Brim Hall.
As you know, that there is a conflict.
Because you kind of get the perspective of a judge, you know, and how he has to deal with a lot of stuff. And so it kind of helps bridge the gap.
BYU professor Ed Carter helped start the pilot program.
I think for journalism students in particular, that's important because they are unable to speak with the judge on cases they're covering for the most part, and this will give them a chance to see that inside view.
The judge met informally with students so they could ask him questions and get to know his personality.
Students are very insightful and they ask meaningful questions. I'm not sure that we've had a bad question.
Also a previous journalist, his granddaughter shared how important having a judge as a resource and a family member is.
And I've just been fortunate enough to have that in my family. And so whenever you do come across somebody like that, take the opportunity to learn from them because it's really an enriching part of life.
The judge is hopeful for BYU journalists.
But I think as long as good people are anxious to bring about the right result, I think it will serve our nation very well.
Megan Egbert, Daily News, Provo.
Program coordinators say they hope to begin a tradition that will benefit students and professionals alike. And finally, a bridal company donates hundreds of wedding dresses to help grant dying women their wish. Making Memories, a nonprofit organization, had a truck with over $3 million worth of wedding gowns stolen. Making Memories uses its profits from donated wedding dresses to make wishes come true for breast cancer patients who are terminally ill. A bridal company who heard about the theft and the stolen goods immediately wanted to help. This company will donate 300 to 400 wedding dresses to the company Making Memories. The profits made from selling these dresses will be used for funds to make more wishes come true for dying breast cancer patients. And that's it for this week's Weekly Wrap-Up. Check out our blog at dailynewsbyu.blogspot.com. I'm Stace Hall. Thanks for clicking with us and have an outstandingly good day, everybody.